Hey guys, good evening. I'm happy to connect with you all in another session of my weekly AMA. It is good to see you all during an amazing week. We have had an amazing day, even per se, where the markets are looking very, very good after some initial bumps we saw in the weekend. I think today a lot of tokens are bounced back, and what we are looking at is a pretty good market. So it's amazing to connect on AMA session when the markets are also looking good. So many greens in the charts. It is uh, it is a wonderful sight to look at, and as usual, a lot of things have happened in the market. That's quite a few things, a lot of good ones to discuss during today's session. I'll be happy to discuss about a variety of topics with you all, starting from what's happening with prices in different tokens, what's happening in the altcoin spectrum per se, and many other things that we can talk about in today's session of AMA. Now, before I get into it, let me wait for some time for a few more people to join in, and then let me begin today's AMA session, guys. So it is an exciting week. A lot of things have happened, not just in prices, guys. So we are going to also discuss about some holistic things which are happening, which will, of course, affect your crypto prices. That is why we are interested to discuss about all that in today's AMA session. So, with that thought, let us wait for some more time for a lot of other viewers to join in. In the meanwhile, let me also quickly correct some things in my videos, guys. Okay, noticing a lot of flickering today in my video. Okay, guys, let me just wait for some more time where more people join in. In the meanwhile, let me also quickly correct some things in my webcam. Yeah, guys, I'm back. Hope things are looking better now. Okay, now let's quickly see um, how has this week been, guys. This week has been a pretty good one, where uh, Bitcoin has done 7% up. Let's not forget it crossed $110,000. Now it is close to $110,000, though there was some correction that we noticed in the weekend. Obviously, there was a lot of sell off. We'll also talk about the reason behind sudden quick pressures of sell off that happened. Now, but usually in at least the last month, the previous month, whenever there's a weekend, usually this is a general trend of a weekend. In weekend, usually the liquidity is low, and in the weekday, when the market opens up, usually it would either correct or it'll be another. I mean, usually it will be a good correction that would happen where the prices would go down again and give us more worries, or the prices would perform better considering there's more liquidity and a lot of buy interests which are there, and the markets will spring back up. Now, in the past few months, we did not notice this scenario where the market springs back up on a Monday, but either it was either stabilizing with the prices what it was, or it was happened there, or there was a correction in the prices that was happening. Now, this weekend was not a usual weekend where the prices there was a correction, there was a lot of sell-off, A lot of tokens starting from Bitcoin, Dodge, and quite a few other tokens. You saw a really good correction that happened, but things have bounced back now. Today, when the market had again opened with a good liquidity, especially it is to deal with the banking channels and everything. That's why you cannot move a lot of liquidity during weekends. But this time we saw prices correcting and prices moving up, which is a very, very good sign that a lot of funds are flowing into the ecosystem and with a reason, right? So let's discuss about what happened in the weekend, what created this instability, and what got corrected quickly today. Now, one of the biggest things where most of the people are quoting, obviously, that is one of the reasons where a lot of people sold off during the weekend was, if you noticed last week, Donald Trump had a fight. Um, yeah, sorry. I just had to quickly check something, guys. So, if you noticed last week, Donald Trump suddenly started picking up European nations, uh, s- stating that he would be increasing tariffs from goods that were supplied from European nations, Europe. So initially he said, and it came out suddenly, guys. Initially he said, he's going to increase it by 39 percentage, then took it back, and then came back again on Friday, stating that hey, he's going to put it at 50 percentage because EU did not come to the table to negotiate. Right. So this suddenly created a big panic in the market. And again, people were worried that the global economic scenario is going to face another turbulent time because of two big parties like US and Europe entering into trade wars, similar to whatever was happening with China and US. So again, there was a lot of sell-offs, not just in the crypto market, even in the traditional markets as well. But having said that, Donald Trump again came back and stated that he would be postponing the decision on the 50 percentage tariff that he had stated till July 9th. Now, what happened between that has come Trump states, he has stated that he had a good call with the EU president, and post which he believes that there is going to be a good trade talk or a good trade deal that he can secure with European nation, and hence he has taken back the push to move it to 50 percentage blanket ban. Post his call with Ursula von der Leyen, the president of EU. So yes, with that call with the European Commission, President of European Commission, Trump had stated that on July 9th, he's postponed it till July 9th on what to do with the trade tariffs. So with that, the sentiments are back again. The sentiments are back that okay, the world is not going to have another time in the short term at least where the global economy is going to get affected or the global economy is going to have an uncertain outlook. Either good or bad is actually a better outlook, right? Because people price things in. An uncertain outlook is what the market usually does not like at all. So this was the uncertain outlook that people were worried about, and there was a quick sell-off that happened. But guess what? The price has quickly corrected, and we are looking at an amazing market where Bitcoin is up by 7%. Crossing all the previous all-time highs and creating a new all-time high, $10,000, and it is still trading close to that. Now, let's not forget Ethereum hodlers, who had a tough time this year, where they saw all the lows that is possible. But Ethereum off fleet has also been performing really well. Ethereum is up 7% again, which is very, very great news for Ethereum holders. Ethereum in particular, guys. Now there is a lot of reasons to state that the fund is flowing from Bitcoin to other coins, especially Ethereum, with this increase in price. It is also an indicator that there is a good scope for an Ethereum run to happen, which is very, very important, guys, because that's how usually altcoin seasons start. Now, if Ethereum is able to push about $2,700, which is by most outlook, it looks like, if again, nothing this week comes from Donald Trump on the trade wars, or that would affect the global outlook on the economic scenario, then there is a good reason that Ethereum will cross $2,700. So if it breaks that resistance, then Ethereum doing a 3,000, which will be much quicker than what we are expecting. So from there, a $3,500 still seems to be something achievable. And when that happens, that is an ideal signal that the fund allocation has started moving beyond Bitcoin. Now, obviously, a lot of people would not want to believe that Ethereum is one of the altcoins. Obviously, Ethereum has grown large, unlike how it was in the previous markets. Ethereum is still considered a large cap in this ecosystem, though Bitcoin takes the huge chunk of the market cap of cryptocurrencies. But still, it is ideal that fund moves out of Bitcoin for the altcoin season to start. And one of the greatest indicator over all the season has been how that allocation has happened to Ethereum. Now, this is a good indicator that we are seeing. Now, not just Ethereum, most of the large caps that we are noticing, starting from Solana, Dogecoin has also had a pretty good correction. It was up 3% after going down. Cardano had a stress in this weekend where the prices went low, but it has quickly corrected and is in a weekly high of 7%, even though it had a correction on the during the weekend. So a lot of large caps have started performing, which is a very good news considering the fact that now the funds are starting to get allocated across the spectrum. Now, with this fund allocation happening across the spectrum, now there is a good case to start building if the Bitcoin dominance is getting down. Now, if you guys remember last time, the Bitcoin dominance, when it reached low to 48 percentage, the market had its highest ever rally that we noticed. And the movement from 60 percentage to 48 percentage happened pretty swift, right? And then it created a huge rally on altcoins, and yes, the last bull market was definitely kind to a lot of people. Now, a similar scenario is what we should be watching out for if the Bitcoin dominance is going below 60 percentage, and if it is going further down week on week is something that we should be carefully noticing from now on. This is one of the greatest signals that we could get for an altcoin season to begin, guys. Now, the next thing. Now, this is on coin performance. But is it only the coins that performed? Yes, obviously, people who are fans of Hyperliquid has a great week. It was 50 percentage up, and Hyperliquid is definitely doing a lot of magic. Definitely, the UI of Hyperliquid has been something a lot of people have been going gaga about, and yes, I think that is one particular token which has hit the right use case, and it is making a lot of noise among customers. Now, apart from that, what has been happening in the crypto world on the regulatory front? One critical thing, the US stablecoin regulations. There is something called Magic, MAGIC, Magic. It has nothing to do with general magic, but it is a regulation for stablecoin, which talks about how stablecoin should be, where it should be backed by high quality assets, as US state treasury, or cash, or anything that is high quality, where it should be backed, right? Because earlier there were definitely a lot of discussion, especially when it came to Tether, where a lot of the backing that they had was on commercial papers, and which they corrected, lately after there was a lot of concerns that were raised. So yes, so the US stablecoin regulations Now it has been cleared. Now, I don't think that it's been cleared where the stablecoin regulations are going to come out. It has been clear that there should be a regulations for US stablecoin. So that is the voting that had happened in US, where last time there was a lot of pressure from all the Democrats that such a regulation should not happen, but this time it has passed through, and there is going to be a regulation that the government, US government, is going to be working on, which is a very, very good news and a major news that has happened in the US, which is very critical. If you have noticed, there's a lot of noise that has been happening around stable coins, considering the fact that a lot of people are now bullish that stable coins are going to be greatly used in payments and cross-border remittance. US also acknowledges that, and they are trying to do their best to make sure they bring in regulations to create a scenario where they can still lead the cross-border remittance and the payments ecosystem. Now, with the Magic Act, with the go-ahead of from the Senate to work on the Magic Act, there is an advancement. It is good to see that the US government will be working on a crypto bill for stable coins, which is very, very critical for the world. Why is it critical for the world? It's critical for India as well, because when the Indian regulators are looking at regulating the ecosystem, this will come in very, very handy. When a country as big as US is regulating the ecosystem and is taking parts, like stable coin to regulate, it will be very, very critical for India also to move in to regulate the ecosystem. Now that's the thing. Okay, Venki's got a question. What is your high conviction altcoins for the bull run? Now, I'm not going to state particular coins, Venki, but I can generally give you an idea. See, look for obviously narratives, but before that, the best thing to do when it comes to an altcoin is to understand when the season is going to begin, and you don't buy it high and sell it low. So there are certain indicators that you will be looking at. Obviously, you'll have to be looking at when the altcoin season is beginning. One of the few indicators are going to be a Bitcoin dominance at BTC ratio, or you could also do ratio of large caps, which will include ETH, Bitcoin, Solana, BNB, XRP, Tron, versus the other tokens. This is a very, very good indicator, guys. If you have not already done this, I think it's a very good exercise to do it. Now, when this indicator shows that the other tokens, apart from the large caps, if that ratio, let's say large cap versus other token, right? If that ratio is getting down, it means that the domination of other token is increasing, which is a very, very good indicator that you should start making your portfolio in the altcoins apart from the large cap. Now, how do you start making portfolios? Obviously, you'll be looking at narrators. You'll be looking at narrators like AI, RWAs. Definitely, RWAs are creating a lot of noise in this ecosystem. And when you're choosing your narrators, you'll start looking into the weekly prices of these tokens. You will try to see if these weekly prices are making if the lows are making new all-time highs, right? Now, when the lows are making new all-time highs, it means that there is accumulation of fund that is happening in that particular token. And ideally, that is when you will quickly jump in. Because you don't jump in after the prices are moved very high, you will be jumping in when there is a volatility which is there, but you're seeing new higher lows of every week that you notice. So these are certain things that you should be noticing that are good indicators that these tokens will be having a good run. Uttam UV is wanting to know XRP Pi when to expect double-digit back up 2025. See, XRP definitely has been doing a lot of positive strides, considering the fact that the troubles with the regulators are over, or it's, even though if it's not completely over, I don't think they're going to have a bad season like how they had in the last 2 years, considering the fact most of the issues are getting cleared. Now, XRP definitely looks like doing a lot of partnerships with a lot of institutions, definitely for the use case of XRP. XRP's outlook is good. I'm definitely expecting XRP to be doing great. When will it do great and everything definitely depends on the BTC dominance coming down. That is something we'll definitely keep an eye on, right? I think it is a high time that we start closely watching on a lot of ratios and a lot of insights. And Definitely you'll have to look at the right time to enter in. There's definitely a good amount of accumulation that is happening with XRP, if you noticed. And Yeah, that's just your call. Pi, I'm pretty not sure how to evaluate Pi because um, it's according to me, it's another meme token. There has to be something new that has to be happening in the token. Definitely, there's a lot of adopters that were there for Pi, initial adopters that were there for Pi. Now, how they're going to grow beyond that is something that the team should be answering. Is then when we'll get to know about Pi tokens in particular, guys. Now, yes, so that's quickly on a very, very important thing called Magic Act for stable coins in US, which you should all be looking out for. Now, apart from that, yes, there are a lot of other insights to know that, why crypto as a market cap will increase. Last week, I spoke about uh, Moody's, the rating agency, downgrading US securities. It is largely because of the piling up of debt that the US has, which is deeply being discussed by a lot, even in a lot of political circles in US. Now, the 30-year Treasury bill, the yield on it has drastically increased. The interest rates are going high, which is an indicator that it is not easy for the US to sell its debt anymore. As a matter of fact, in the recent auction, there were very, very few buyers of US 30-year Treasury bill, which means that now people will be looking at other assets to diversify, right? Gold could be one, but if you notice recently, gold is also stabilizing. So people, as far as I think, they would also look at gold like a transitioning asset, right? Now, quickly, I'll have to transition from US dollars, so let me put into gold. From there, now where we move, I think that particular narrative will start playing out. So we will definitely we can hope that we can be looking at a lot of funds moving into crypto because of the general outlook of US treasury bonds and US debt. So that is something that you should be definitely looking at. Now, this is also a good scenario wherein US could be looking at correcting its interest rates, uh, especially the job markets and all the data coming out. Well, it looks like it's stabilizing. Even that could be coming out anytime, which could pull in more funds into the ecosystem, which could go against their treasury bills again. So these are all scenarios that could be good for the market that you should be looking out for. Now, apart from that, there are a couple of other news that Polygon. If you have noticed, recently, one of the founders of Polygon, Mihailo Belek, even he moved out of Polygon now. Out of the four founders, I think Jayanti, Sandeep, Mihailo, and Anurag, the four founders of Polygon when it started. I think now with the exit of Mihailo, I think it is only Sandeep Newal who's remaining in the Polygon, which is a very, very critical information for you guys all to analyze when you're looking at or people who are holding Polygon as investment. Uh, so that's one news I thought I'd also cover. And apart from that, I think I've wrapped it up this week, guys. It's been a great week. The market is looking very, very green. I think if it continues this way, we can definitely be looking at a very good alt season starting anytime soon. So, with that positive note, I'll be signing off this week. Till I meet you next week. Take care, guys. Have a good week. Bye bye.